Hello and welcome back. As you can see, it's just me. Chris is guest hosting on the Mother of All Talk shows today. So, guys, make sure you check that out at some point. I kind of just wanted to open this up to kind of have a Q&A or a conversation with all of you, free of charge, no super chats needed. But hello, just Alba Twitch. But as you guys have probably noticed, we've been traversing all through, I guess they call it Central Europe. In United States, they might call it Eastern Europe, but it's Central Europe. Doing some work and interviewing. Yes, Chris is on George Galloway tonight, or today. Tonight for me, today for most of you. But I'm in Bratislava, Slovakia, beautiful city. But we can discuss the whole trip without getting into too many specifics. And I think a lot of people are probably interested in the gypsy story from last night, which I guess at this point is quite funny. But people have called us liars and accused us of having an agenda against the EU, as if the EU, as if an agenda is needed to recognize that the EU is not a great not a great organization. But yeah, so we'll talk about most of that stuff. Maybe we'll speculate together or spitball together about Ratcliffe's trip to Moscow and some recent developments out of Iran. If you guys want, this is more like an interactive episode, I think. But yeah, so just starting with, we left, I don't even know what date we even left Serbia, but we left and flew out of Belgrade. It was a Monday morning, early Monday morning, I believe. Maybe I can look up the date. I don't even know. All the days have now ran together. I believe it was the 18th. Yeah, 18th. And we took a flight out of Belgrade after spending the Sunday there. We flew to Vienna. And we arrived in Vienna. And, Vienna I've never been to Vienna. And it's an incredibly beautiful city. I was kind of shocked at how clean and upkept it is. The architecture there is absolutely stunning, and the amount of the painstaking labor that Austrians utilize to kind of keep it all looking super clean. All of the architecture and the entirety of the city is incredibly clean and well kept. So we got to meet some really interesting people. And this sort of this movement, I would guess that you'd say, is sort of rising in mostly Middle and Eastern Europe. It's they're calling themselves the New Right, which is kind of antithetical to what you guys know as the right in Western Europe, which is sort of a caricature of the right, which is like Tommy Robinson and that weird Spanish woman that did the Nazi salute, which I mean is just so cringe and fucking weird. But this is a sort of people who are disenchanted with the EU. They are anti-Zionist, recognize the genocide in Palestine. And so it was a very interesting conversations to have with these sort of people that are kind of talking about their loss of sovereignty to Brussels and how what started off as what seems like a sort of economic bloc or unification of the continent has quickly turned into totalitarian liberalism, is probably a good way to describe it, which It's not very good for one's sovereignty. I should come visit Greece. Another person asked me to visit Greece today. Okay, it's too hot, number one, right now, and it's loaded with tourists. Loaded with tourists. And that's as a tourist myself, right? I guess I shouldn't say that, but I guess I'm not really a tourist if I'm working. But yeah, I want to avoid those crowds. So maybe Greece sometime in the fall or early spring would be the biz. But yeah, so after Vienna, we got to explore a lot of the castles. Oh, I would love to go to Bulgaria. I want them to take me and show me the witches in Bulgaria, the babas. So maybe one day we'll go to Bulgaria. I hope to explore a lot more of Eastern Europe. I think that Middle and Eastern Europe really get shafted. They get overshadowed by Western Europe. You know, when even myself, when you think of Europe, immediately what comes to mind is usually France, maybe Spain, and Germany. Nobody thinks like, oh, the Czech Republic, or what history kind of went on in Austria. Or, I mean, nobody taught me about the Austro-Hungarian Empire when I was growing up and going to school in America. So I'm kind of grateful for this trip for that. So and we got to visit with people who sort of have Habsburg nostalgia. I wouldn't say that they want to bring back the empire, but and we're gonna have one of the people that I got to sit down with, Alexander Markovits. He is a author of, you guys might have saw, I posted the book. I should have uploaded a video, or let me see if I'll find the post. But I posted the cover of his book on my personal as well as the large account, and kind of encourage you guys to maybe, if you have, you know, the funds to purchase it, and here we go, I got it, to purchase it and read it. And then I'm almost finished. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm actually super enthralled with it. So here you go. Here's the cover, as you guys can see. It's available on arctos.com. I believe it's also available on Amazon if you don't want to go through a third party. This is not a new studio. I'm in an apartment in Bratislava, but thank you. It's a really cute apartment. I really like it a lot. It's probably the best accommodations we've had. In Vienna, we stayed in this very weird Brazilian hotel, which I didn't know was Brazilian when I booked it. No, it wasn't weird. I shouldn't say weird, because weird kind of gives like a negative connotation. It was very eclectic, and everybody that worked there was Brazilian. Like, it was very authentic to that. But you walked in, and like the whole place is covered in like vines, and like they were dry, and so they were alive at one point. And so we walked in, and you know, there's like birds chirping, like not real birds, like birds. They're playing like a loop of birds chirping, like you're in the rainforest. Yeah, it was called Roca, ROCA, and I believe there were more than one of them in Vienna. But we stayed at Roca 1. It was quite interesting. So we stayed there, and we got to talk to a few people. And like I said, we got to talk to Alexander Markovits. So, and I will be having him on the show. So again, if you guys are interested, it's kind of like a pseudo book club without being a pseudo book club. But no, the receptionist did not have a G string, but they were all very nice. That's one thing about Vienna that I will say. I was very struck at how nice everyone was, like smiley nice, like not just you know, nice for the sake of it. Like, they were very warm people, very warm people. But yeah, so grab the book if you guys want, and you could kind of read it along, and then we'll have Alex on the show, and then we'll make it another interactive episode, and sort of try to get it. You know, I want to get people more involved in like understanding these other political philosophies. We need to build a better intellectual movement. That's one of the premises of this book, is that, oh, thank you so much, Diosto. Gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much. And so I want to start, you know, being more we need to be more intellectual. We need to have higher end conversations. We need to have higher brow conversations. We need to stop screaming in spaces at each other about who's white, who's brown. Brazilian people are very nice. Oh, did you steal the membership? Was that you? Is that who the membership went to? Well, I can't think of a better viewer to get the membership than Alba. So thank you. Very nice of you, Diosto. But yeah, so we need to be more solid in what we talk about. We need to understand like things from a historical perspective. We need to build conversations on foundations of actual political philosophy and no more emotions. Like, why are people arguing about the midterms? Why are people polarized? I don't even want to get into it because I'm afraid the chat will argue, but why are people polarized by a rich woman who unfortunately murdered her children when like the entire economy is on fire? It all just feels like distraction. We have a freaking IndyCar race. I don't even know what the hell I don't watch that. I don't watch cars driving in a circle, but around the White House or something. Like it's all just so gross. And so we need to be rooted back in reality, rooted back in historical context, understanding why the things that we're seeing. I mean, you could go back. I posted a video of Gaddafi talking about how, you know, Turkey and Israel are working together to eradicate Syria and Lebanon. He said that over a decade ago. And I also was just watching a video of a Russian video, and he's from 2019, and he's talking about predicting how the war in Iran will go, and it was almost to a T, where he says Israel will attack sites that their intelligence says has uranium enrichment capabilities, or maybe sites that they say are developing nuclear weapons, and then Iran will retaliate, and the damage to Israel will be small, but then Big Brother, aka the United States, will step in and activate NATO. That was in 2019. Russians don't have magical fortune-telling capabilities. Neither did Gaddafi. Assad did the same thing. You can go back and watch videos of Assad. You know, a lot of times these people that we think have this like gift of foresight, there's people who understand history and understand people's intentions and understand other people's political philosophies. And that's kind of where we need to be. We need to be able to understand what's happening around us and get ready for the next iteration of whatever is coming in this world war. I'm Italian, so I do a lot of hand talking. But anyway, so after we left Vienna, we were lucky to go to Budapest, which was interesting. I interviewed you guys may recognize him, George Zamuli. I'll show you his ex. We got to sit with him for a while, which was really nice, and talk with him. And then I also sat with another author, and you know, we got to talk about in Hungary. The main topics of conversation were sort of this switch in politics. You know, we've gone from the Orban era, which I think he was in office for like 19 years. It might have been even longer, not 100%. And now we have this sort of Peter Magyar. And, you know, I didn't really know a lot about Peter and sort of his background, other than he gave me a ick vibe. And I guess my intuition was correct. What I didn't know, and if you guys remember, we were in Hungary, we were in Budapest for the election. I wasn't there, but our producer was there with Shay Bowes, covering when Orban was defeated. But if you look into this guy, he's really like disgusting, like really disgusting. So apparently There was a huge scandal. Maybe it was corruption or something. No, it was something else. It was like some sort of criminal pardon or something. And Maillard recorded his own wife talking about it. And she was in Orban's party. And so he secretly recorded his own wife. And this is a man who had no like political consequence whatsoever. He was completely unpopular. Nobody really, it's just kind of a fledgling wannabe. And he recorded her and then passed off the recordings to the authorities and then divorced her and sort of used that as a stepping stone to kind of catapult his political career, which is like ick. Like you sell out your own wife for political gain. Like what? And then how do you? Yes, only talking. They were having a conversation, or she was talking to someone else, and he recorded it secretly. So if you're willing to betray your wife, what are you willing to do to your countrymen? But after the election, most people still didn't even know about that. You know, they were kind of just disenchanted with the Orban years, kind of ready to move on, ready to try something different, which I get, you know. And Hungary is now in this sort of bind where they're like, okay, well, we have all this money for you. Or the EU, I mean. The EU is like, we have all this money for you. But in order to get it, you have to sort of arrest all of the Orban people, do an actual purge. And not only that, but you have to allow the EU to prosecute them. So why do they need to do that in order to get money? That sounds like blackmail. That sounds like a violation of a country's sovereignty. That sounds like something I would want nothing to do with. I would rather just, you know, we'll go without the money, and we'll deal with the criminals our own way if we want to. But that's how they hold these. That's how they hold these countries hostage. That's how they violate their sovereignty. They'll destroy their pipelines. They'll destroy their ability to do business with the East and all of those things. And they'll sanction Russia to high hell. And then they'll say, I know you're broke, but I have this big package of money for you, but you have to do what I say. That's like mafia tactics. I mean, Ursula did say that the European Union is, or maybe she just said Europe itself is built on Talmudic values. And I think she might be right, especially speaking on Germany and westward, or Western Germany and westward. But so that's and in Hungary, we got to see, which I can't believe I almost forgot. We were there for their State Foundation Day, which was so incredible. So incredible. You guys might have seen some of the photos that we posted. There were some videos of fireworks. Nobody will ever arrest Bibi. Like, this is all just lip service. Like, if someone were to arrest Bibi, the United States will invade them. Like, the United States will invade The Hague on behalf of Bibi. So, okay. Like, the whole ICC is sanctioned to hell because the United States is sanctioning them. And they let it slip the other day that there's not sanctioning them because they think that they violate American sovereignty. They're sanctioning them because what they did to Benjamin Netanyahu, and they put out a warrant for his arrest. That's why they're sanctioning them. And they're about to have elections for new judges. So they're sanctioning the judges sanctioning the people that would be eligible to be judges, and they were Palestine defenders. So it's all fakery. It's all kayfabe. But yeah, so this guy gives me the ick. He's like one of those handsome sort of Chad, like maybe like a Marco Rubio or maybe an Obama. Maybe I'm trying to think of it, like easy on the eyes. Lots of women like him. Lots of men think that he's, you know, like Captain. I kept on referring to him as like Captain Hungary, like Captain America. That's the vibe that I get from him. And I guess I'm kind of right in a way. I don't really know a whole lot. But anyway, so we were there for State Foundation Day, which is obviously the anniversary of their state founding. And you guys might have seen some of the videos that I posted, some of the photos that I posted. It was absolutely incredible. So it's to honor King Stephen. He was the nation's Christian king and founder. He's also a saint, so it's King Saint Stephen. And we were walking around. You guys probably saw the photos of Reagan and Bush, which just I can't. Like if you're in Europe and you have a statue of Reagan, Bush, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, like what are we doing? Looking at you, Albania and Kosovo, so-called Kosovo. Okay, what are we doing? Literally, these are not even just people that were the architects of the destruction of Europe, but they're the architects of the destruction of the United States. Maybe that is why they celebrate them in Hungary. It's I believe it was George H.W. Bush too, which is funnier to me, right? So it's Reagan and George H.W., not even George W. But so we're walking around this square. I believe it's called Liberty Square, actually. It's right near, and it's this beautiful square. In the middle of the square is a monument to the lost Soviet soldiers. There's the awkward statues. There's little cute little dog parks everywhere, and this really nice sort of cafe / bar outdoors with like couches and stuff around. And then on the right side is this huge fortress, completely gated off. And then I look and I'm like, oh my God, that's the American embassy. So there's like this beautiful square surrounded by like Hungarian governmental buildings, other countries' embassies that look totally normal, gardens, a beer garden, a monument, weird statues, whatever, a bunch of like really cute little dog parks. And then there's a fucking fortress embassy, like right on like prime real estate, which you can't even like drive through. You have to drive around the whole thing. You can't even take photos near it. It's all very bizarre. Like, why does the United States need fortress embassies everywhere? Like, you walk through the streets of Europe and you'll pass by, or European capitals, and you'll pass by embassy, consulate. You'll see the flags. And then all the European countries, we see sometimes Turkey. I guess you could consider them European sometimes. You know, and and they're just regular buildings, usually beautiful. Saw the Indian embassy in I think it was Vienna, yeah. You know, just like all different countries, Malaysia. And then you see the American embassy and it's a fortress. You can't even get in it. Like you can't get even to the door. It's completely gated off. Why? Are they just, is it because these countries hate them? I don't think so. I think it's because they're mostly just intelligence collecting centers, military centers. So they have to be built that way. Do you really want the answer to this? Do you? Not today. I'll do a whole episode just on Serbia. We'll really get everybody upset. We'll do that when I get back to Serbia. So anyway, so we're in Budapest. It's State Foundation Day, celebrated on the 20th. But this year, it fell on a Thursday. And so they made the celebration Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which made it like this huge, amazing celebration. So on Thursday, we went out to the square. And while we were walking, we stumbled upon the procession of Saint Stephen, which was just incredible. And they walked all the way down the street to the Catholic Church, to King Saint Stephen. And they had a holy relic with them. And it was just, you guys might have seen one of my videos I posted. Did I post it? I posted it on the big account. We stumbled upon that procession, which was just really sublime, surreal, serendipitous. It was just very nice to see something like that. No, this is not a Russian channel. Am I speaking Russian? Ты говоришь по-русски? No, I'm not. Is it a Russian channel? If it were, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I'd be banned. Anyway, that's another thing. A lot of people are getting real weird about Russians lately. Okay, but whatever. Anyway, Russia's winning the war, so I guess that's why people are getting weird. And State Foundation Day was amazing. And then so we walked to the top of this hill. I believe it's called Fisherman's Bastion. We walked all the way to the top of this like oversight hill. And you could see the parliament and some of the government buildings. And then they had this huge drone show. And it, instead of being like hokey and cringe and like weird, it was very historical and like super well done. Usually drone shows are like silly, like weird animals, and like, no, this was like very, very historical, very, very like well done, very, very tasteful. And so I was really happy with that. And then what was interesting is that after the drone show, and the drone show had a bunch of Catholic symbolism, a bunch of I think it had King Saint Stephen's face, obviously stuff in Hungarian colors. I think that's it's maybe some other imagery. And then they did a projection onto the parliament building, the side of the government building. So it was basically a movie of the entire history of Hungary. And while this movie is going, they had fireworks that kind of corresponded with the like historical video. It was pretty incredible. It was really, really well done. I was super impressed. So, you'll see I think it's 1956 uprising, right? Which is where the word tanky comes from. Most people don't even know that. But the 1956 uprising, and then like fireworks would start, and they would project like fire onto the buildings that were on fire. It was really, really just well done. And so we were there Thursday, Friday, and I think we may have left on Saturday to go to Czechia, Czech Republic. We went to Prague, or Praha, as these people, as the people call it, as the kids say out here. And please don't get offended. Everybody says that Prague is the most beautiful city in Europe. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it like at all. It was cool. It was very medieval and like vibey and like kind of like dark and like almost spooky in a way, like in a good way, I mean. And so that was really cool. Like the whole like Knights of Moravia and Bohemia and all of that stuff. But yes, Vienna is much nicer. But the one thing I'll say about Vienna, and I don't mean to offend anybody, I really don't. There's no vibe. Like there's no personality to speak of in Vienna. Like it's so clean and so like orderly and so like well put together that there's no vibe or personality. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, but it's like even when we finished one interview and we finished at like 9 o'clock, we were like, what should we do? Let's go do something. We're used to living in Serbia, and everything was closed. And I was like, why is everything here closed at 9? Like, this is very bizarre. But it's a very quiet city. So if you're kind of into like kind of that sort of orderliness and like cleanliness, and the art and the architecture is you really can't wrap your mind around. I mean, that goes for all of the cities we've visited though, but in Vienna, you really can't wrap your mind around like the amount of work that went into building that, the amount of like soul, the amount of like thought and planning. And so I will say that about Vienna. It's a stunning city. It's breathtaking. Like, but everything closes at 9. So, but in Budapest, the city's actually better at night. Like it's gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous during the day, especially down in the center, but at night, like it's like nothing you've ever seen before. Like screw Paris. Budapest at night was like breathtaking, like breathtakingly beautiful. Like standing down by the river, with the boats and the music and like there's clubs and bars and pedestrian bridges, and the parliament is lit up in this beautiful like golden warm yellow light. It's just Budapest at night is just wow. But anyway, so we got to Praha for you. Stop arguing about Turks and the Balkans in the chat. Like, it's just getting weird. Okay, we're not even talking about the Balkans. We're over in Czechia. So we get to Czechia, and I think Czechia, Czech Republic, was the most grueling leg of the journey because we had to go all the way out of Prague and then back to Prague, and then we did like 4 interviews in a day, and then we were asked to do an interview on Ostrava, which is a kind of a working class town outside of, maybe like 3 hours outside of Prague, I think, maybe. I don't remember. I took a nap. I fell asleep on the train there. But so we went and did the interview, and the interview was very late. And then we were told, okay, you have to do an interview tomorrow at 11 a.m., but in Bratislava. So we were like, we have to get from Ostrava, which is not a bustling city. It's kind of smaller, working class. I jokingly said, I feel like I'm in the Czech version of Train Spotting, but I didn't see any like heroin addicts. It just had that sort of very working class, like vibe to it. And so we went and we said, all right, well, I guess we'll do the interview. We'll get there, do the interview, and then we'll have to leave immediately and catch a bus to Bratislava and arrive in Bratislava at 5 in the morning. So the bus was leaving at 1:10. And so we finished the interview, which was in this really cool building that they rebuilt. Interestingly, it's like a house, and then there's like a huge, I guess it was a barn or some other sort of like that type of building before, but it's been converted into a studio and a meeting place for political parties and stuff. But the house was built by the Rothschilds, which I found fascinating. And then the other part was built by communists. So you have this big, huge, sprawling, well, not very sprawling, but property in the middle of this very bizarre, almost scary woods in Czech Republic. And half of it's built by the Rothschilds because it had like a direct line to Vienna where the Rothschilds are. And if you guys go to Vienna, like it's pretty, you know, if Chris were here, he'd sing the Hava Nagila, but it's, you know, we'll just leave it at that. But so the Rothschilds lived there with their direct line to Vienna. And then after that kind of era ended, then the communists built the building behind it. And so the whole thing's been kind of converted into this amazing studio meeting center. And then someone lives in the house in front. So sorry about that. Sorry, I'm not doing well with transitions tonight because I don't have media assets, and it's just me. I'm just kind of rambling to you guys, but we're getting through it. And so we left the forest, went out to have some, we went out to get some food. We got like kebabs, which, by the way, I will say that the kebabs in Ostrava are very good, very, very good. So I will give them that. And then we go to the bus station. We're like, okay, let's just go sit at the bus station. We'll wait for the bus and we'll eat. And while we're eating, this group of, well, first I didn't really notice. I had like we were exhausted. Keep in mind, we had been going, I think, since 6 or 7 in the morning, maybe 8. It's just because we had early interviews, and then we had to check out, took all of our luggage. Oh yeah, I was up since 7. So it's not 1 in the morning. And so this girl comes up, clearly a gypsy, and she starts like asking me all these questions in Czech, and I'm like, I don't speak. Whatever. Like, she's asking obviously for money, which I don't have. I don't ever carry cash. Like, Americans don't carry cash. We're like cash phobic. Like, that's not a thing. And so I'm like, I don't have any. Well, they weren't. The people who made them probably weren't Czech. I think the guy who owned it was Turkish, but the lady that worked there was definitely Czech. And they were really good kebabs. Don't be upset. I don't want to tell you. Anyway, so she asked for money. I'm like, I don't have any money. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to eat. And she's like, can I please have your food? And so I'm like, I'm almost finished. And I'm like, whatever, I'll just give you the rest of my kebab, which is pretty disgusting because if anybody knows how you eat kebab, like your whole face is in it. So, no, she didn't mark me because I didn't get robbed. But anyway, so and I'm like, okay, I guess you can have my disgusting, like, spit covered kebab. Like, I wouldn't eat somebody else's kebab. Like, that's disgusting. Anyway, so and then she asked my producer for like cigarettes and money. And so he's like, I think he might have given her €5 and then some cigarettes. Um and as we're sitting there, he's like, oh my God, my backpack's missing. And so he just takes off. And I'm like, bro, like all I'm thinking is like, okay, the bus is gonna be here. And this whole evolution only took like maybe 30 minutes. Because the bus was coming. I remember looking, I'm like, the bus is gonna be here in like less than, I think it was 25 minutes or something, as when he took off. Literally affirming every stereotype. And so she takes off, and I can hear them, like, you could hear the I hate saying the word, like, gypsies is supposed to be like derogatory, but that's what they were. There's nothing else for me to call them. They're not Czechs. And so so he takes off running, which I can't run. I'm old as hell and I hate running. And so I'm like, all right, what are the scenarios that can play out at this point? Like that stuff, because his backpack has all of our production equipment in it, which would be the end. I'm like, well, at least I'm trying to look on the bright side. And I'm like, well, at least this means that the trip is over and I can go back to Novi Sad. And I was just like, I was so upset. I had started having like a little minor anxiety. I don't want to say a panic attack. Like, all Western women are like, a panic attack. I don't think I had that because I wouldn't have been able to function. But I definitely got some anxiety, and I'm like trying to like, okay, how can this problem be solved before, like how can I at least like soothe the situation? Because I just was like, there's no way we're getting this stuff back. Like gypsies are sneaky. They take the thing, they pass it off to another person who passes it to another person who takes it down the street and sells it to somebody or hides it in a safe house or something. And they had gotten like a couple, I don't want to say the amount of money because someone else, but a good amount of money worth of equipment. Not $10,000. It's not that crazy. They're not very smooth criminals. That's the thing. They're not smooth criminals. Like, it was our own lack of like spatial awareness and being exhausted and letting our guard down that really like allowed that to happen. Like, I'm not going to say like, and I hate like the whole victim blaming, like it's my fault I got robbed. It's not. I mean, people shouldn't rob each other. Like, that's just that's how it should be. But we should have been a little bit more careful. We're used to living in a much higher trust society since we live in Serbia. That's a zinger for all of you. Anyway, and so he runs away, and I hear them communicating to one another. And I'm thinking, I know how like these sort of groups, gangs function. The girl came as the diversion because she's sweet and small. And she's, like, oh my God, all of this stuff. And so, so I was like, I'm thinking in my head, grab the girl. Like, grab the girl. Thank you for joining. M City Mum. Oh, Emerald City, maybe? Like Seattle? I don't want to dox you. Don't dox yourself. But so he takes off they're screaming to one another. They're like making all these weird noises. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, like, if the only thing that might save us right here is the fact that we're not in Western Europe. Because if we were in Spain, Germany, France, or the UK, he'd probably be dead. Literally. He'd probably be dead. He would have been stabbed and left in a bush somewhere. And so that's the redeeming part about all of this. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, grab the girl. If he grabs the girl, then maybe. And he like, I think I messaged him and I was like, the bus is coming soon or something along those lines. And he says, I grabbed the girl. I have the girl or something like that. And I was like, okay. And so maybe about five or six, well, it felt like an eternity as he merges out of they're still screaming. I can still hear her screaming. She's kind of like doing this weird howling thing. And he walks out of the woods It's like behind this weird apartment block, communist apartment block. And he has her by the hood, like the hoodie. And her hoodie was too small for her to slip out of it. It was too tight anyway. So he has her by the hoodie, which at first I thought he had her by the hair. And I was like, oh my God, please don't like this. Drag her by her hair. First of all, don't touch her hair. Gross. And second of all, I don't want to hurt people, even when they do like terribly evil things, like steal people's stuff. So he brings her down and he's like screaming at her. And, he's like, give me my shit back. And she's howling. And then finally, I think at one point he's holding her. We're at the bus station. And at this point, some like drunk Czech guy comes up and he's not like, I don't see he's like laughing at the situation. He's laughing at like the gypsies getting caught. And he's like, do you want me to translate? So he's translating for us. And so we're saying some not so nice things. And I went, and then finally the guy that she was with comes down. And these are kids. They couldn't have been older than 25. And I'm being very generous, maybe in their teens even. These weren't older people. And so he comes out and he's like, freaking out, and he's speaking in Czech. And I really don't understand much Czech, maybe 20% of it. And he's kind of saying like, we'll go get it. We'll get the backpack. Let her go. Let her go. I'm like, nobody is leaving anywhere. Like nobody is going anywhere. Go get the backpack right now. And I was like, you've probably picked the worst person, the worst people that you could have picked to rob. And so he then, my producer's like, he's like, take the girl. I'm going to go back and go back and like confront them some more. So I'm like, first I'm like, I don't want to get involved in all of this, but all right. So yeah, I'm old. If somebody's 25, they're a kid to me. Okay. That's Gen Z. They're kids. Anyway. And so, if I grab her by the hood and I just start, like, I was talking to her and she starts to cry, she's, please let me go. Let me go. And the guy and the Czech guy is still there. He's also eating kebab and drinking a beer. So the whole thing's just insane. And he's laughing at her. And I keep telling her, I'm like, you have fucked with the most incorrect person. I'm not some stupid American. And I think that my producer was like, she's ex-military. So you guys you're not getting away. And I was like, this is not even the first time I've held someone hostage from like something like this. Like, I'm not letting you go. And I told her in Russian, I said, yeah, I'm going to take you back to Beograd with me. Like, we're taking you back to Serbia. If you don't give us our stuff back, you're coming back to Serbia and I'll leave you at the border with the border guards and you'll go to jail, period. And yeah, your daughter's a kid. She's your kid. See how that works? Anyway. And so I keep telling her and she's getting more and more upset. And I'm like, I will literally kick your ass. Like I even like held her against the wall. Probably not my best moment. I was like, I will kick your ass myself and then take you back to Serbia tonight, with or without a passport. And I will leave you with the border guards, period. You'll go to prison. And so she's crying. I said, well, you can pick though. If you want, we can send you to Moscow. You can go to either Beograd or Moscow. And it was a lot of threats flying. I won't repeat any for sake of not getting banned. And I told her I'm half Russian. I told her in Russian, I'm half Russian, I'm half Italian, and you have picked the wrong fucking person. I'll literally in the street. And then I told her you're lucky. I forget what I said. I said, you're lucky I have luggage here, else I would walk you like a dog around this whole parking lot before I threw you on a bus. And finally she's standing there and I said, listen, I am going to tell you right now, you better tell your friends that they better bring everything back or things are going to turn out incredibly bad for you. Really bad. Like you're going to be kidnapped pretty much. And so they come back with the backpack and my producer's back and they come back with the backpack. Some other weird, see, this is the thing. They put the cute one up front, right? The cute little one. Then this like disgusting, like missing teeth, haggard ass woman, maybe the same age group, 25, 26, comes back out. And she's like, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. And she brings the backpack out and gives it to my producer, who's like, I'm going to check everything, and it's missing the laptop. So and then by this time the bust is here. People are like probably like, what the fuck is going on? We're just trying to leave. It's the middle of the night. The bus driver's like all fine with it. He's like, we're like, I'm sorry. Like, if you, thank you for waiting. If you need to go, like, we get it. But, and he's like, no, just, you know. And the gypsy's looking at him like, please help me. And he's like, like, no, like, no. Like, she's like talking to him and checking. He's like, basically like, no. And so the laptop's missing out of the bag. And so then another whole evolution ensues where I'm like, oh, we're going to play games over a laptop. Okay. And then, so now the girl that I'm still holding, this is now like maybe 10, 15 minutes of me holding on to her. I'm like, tell your friend. And she's begging her friends to give us the laptop. And so, and I'm like, tell your friend that I'm going to take you to Belgrade. I'm literally going to take you to Belgrade. If you do not get this laptop back, you are going to Serbia tonight, period. And then, so she's crying. And then, so they walk away like, we'll get the laptop. We'll get the laptop. Just let her go. We're like, we're not letting anybody go until everything is returned. And so then they come out as they're going to get the laptop or whatever. I tell her, so yeah, we have the backpack at this point. The backpack has the camera in it. He had checked for that, had the microphones in it. They were still in there. Stupid idiots take the laptop instead of the camera. The camera's probably worth more money. And so I'm holding on to her and I whisper in her ear, I was like, listen to me. You can make a choice right now. You can go to either Moscow or Belgrade. And I'll even let you choose. And at that point, she literally dropped to her knees and started praying and crying. And I was like, you better pray to every single God that you know that they bring this laptop back and it still works. And then out of nowhere, this girl comes out with the laptop, hands it back, and he turned it on just to make sure that it was okay. And she's still screaming. I think they were like screaming that like we did something wrong. And we got all of our shit back except for a pair of sunglasses, which I was kind enough to replace. But just a pair of Oakleys, you know, Oakleys. But I still replaced them out of the kindness of my heart. And they were still mad afterwards. They started throwing rocks at the bus. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And so, I don't know. I was just like, I hate that, like, it had to be like that. And then, you know, of course, the Russians now are like, what did she do? Like, what did Sarah do? And they're like, oh my God, like, what is going on? And like, I'm like, probably, like, they're like, they probably think she's Russian agents now. And so, I mean, not my proudest moment, but we got everything back. And I posted about it, a short post on my own timeline, and just said, you know, like, kind of just flexing a little bit, joking around, and said, I think basically I said, like, just got robbed by a band of gypsies and managed to hold a girl hostage until I got my stuff back. Amazing story. Good night. And then I followed up by saying, if I could get my stuff back by a band of roving gypsies in Eastern Europe, what chance do you think you have against me? Or something like that. Like, I was just joking around. And so my producer posted on Telegram, and I'll read you that post. I think it might even be pinned. Let me find it. No, it's not pinned. But I copied it and posted it onto the Telegram, which is something that we often do. A lot of times we double post on both. But I want to read it to you guys because this really got people upset. And I don't know why. Like, they actually were upset at me. First, I was accused of lying, which I'm like, why would I lie? But here's the post. It says, the most dangerous place we've traveled, the EU. We got robbed by a group of gypsies at 1 a.m. in Ostrava, Czech Republic, while waiting for our bus. They grabbed our backpack with all of our camera gear and our laptop inside. We managed to catch one of them and dragged them back to the station where thank you, Nick. where a drunk Czech guy eating a kebab translated for us. If their friends didn't bring the backpack back, I hate that, backpack back, we'd bring them back to Serbia with us. After a short come to Jesus moment, they got the message and we got our stuff back and still made the bus. We've traveled through plenty of dangerous places where people warned us we'd get scammed, robbed, or worse. We never had an issue. It was the civilized, democratic EU where it finally happened. Funny how that works. And I'm not going to judge Czechia because of this one terrible experience. Obviously, it was almost traumatic. I hate to use that word, but the adrenaline carried me through. I won't do that. But this idea that they've pushed upon everybody that the EU is somehow this garden and the EU is this incredible place where all of these cultures coexist together in this rainbow fabric. I love you, Novi Sad. I miss you guys so much. We'll be back very soon. Thank God. But you're told like, oh, it's this beautiful garden. And what did they call Russia? I don't even remember, but it was like, we're the garden and they're like maybe the jungle or like something gross like that, or they're the desert. And like all of these people that exist outside of the EU are just uncivilized, disgusting creatures. And they don't know how to act. And they all live in these low trust societies. And I'll tell you what, like, when we were in Iran and Russia, I remember this specifically because they would look at me weird if I like carried my bags everywhere. They were like, you can put your stuff down. And I'm like, what if somebody like, they're like, nobody's gonna take your stuff. Like, it was weird for me to even think that way to them. Like in Russia, I was carrying my bag, I was speaking at a conference and they were like, they had some weird backstage, like, like a green room. And they're like, you can leave your stuff in here. And I was like, are you sure? And they were like, are you okay? Like yes. And in Iran, same thing. It was like, just leave your stuff here. It's totally fine. And nobody's going to go through it. Russia is Nigeria with snow. Yeah. From fucking John McCain. That's rich. And so it's just that kind of weird notion that like the EU is this bastion of civilization because, I mean, Europe is a cradle of many different nations and some might say civilizations, but the non-EU is just savagery where like you can't even, if you leave the garden, like you're on your own and nobody knows what will happen out there. There's like that Simba with Mufasa, everything beyond like everything that the light doesn't touch is not our kingdom, right? All the darkness. And that's how the EU like puts themselves, like places themselves, like we're this bastion of freedom and democracy and people living together in multi-ethnic societies. And, and just the fact that, and like I said to you guys at the very beginning of all of this, I thought, thank God we're not in like Spain, France, Germany, or the UK, because he would literally probably be dead, stabbed, slashed, and dead. And nobody would do a thing about it. Nobody would do a thing about it. In fact, they would probably yell at us for being there or something. That's how these shit libs work. But so, and in the comments, you guys can go look on the post. In the comments, they blame us. Somebody called us a liar. Why didn't you call the police? That was from a South Asian. Why don't you call the police in India and see how that goes? Number one. Number two, police drove by us twice and we tried to flag them down. And they didn't stop. So you want me to call them and then wait and then have them take a statement while they're going to make me let this girl go because I can't legally hold somebody hostage for things. They're going to make me let her go. We're never going to see our stuff again. And they're going to basically say you're shit out of luck. So why would I call the police? Another woman that lives in Canada accused me of having an agenda against the EU. I don't have to have an agenda against the EU. I don't like the organization of the EU. I love Europe. I think that what the EU has done to Europe and the sovereignty of the states that live there is disgusting. And so, yes, I hate the institution of the EU. And I think that I'm well-founded in that. So it was very weird to see a Canadian defend that, especially with the trade wars that are going on with the United States. And Like it's all related. But so she basically said like, without really saying it was like, you deserve it and you have an agenda because you're even telling the story. I don't have an agenda. Like I want people to live safely in their countries. I don't want people that live in the EU to live like this. That's another thing. Police may be working with them. Also true, right? They're going to come up and see a Slovene and an American, and they're going to take our side over some Czech speakers. That might not happen, right? So no, there's no agenda there. Nobody pays us to say not nice things. Nobody wants to get robbed. Nobody would fabricate a story this fantastical. We don't even usually tell stories like this. We usually don't even share these sorts of experiences because it's just never been our style. But yeah, it was just kind of the reactions to it. It's just the reactions to it that was very like gross. And like people in the chiming in the comments like say things like, I was pickpocketed in Barcelona. Someone else said, gypsies, they robbed me more than once in Poland. Someone else, how did you manage to get all your critical equipments robbed? So it's my fault. What time were you guys out and where? What's not making sense is that they brought you everything back after you captured or detained one of them and held the person hostage. Didn't you call the police? What? Are you kidding me? This would never, I've watched vloggers travel all around the world and their stuff was only stolen in EU. I don't think that Europeans should have to live like this. I don't think that they should have to live in crime-ridden places. And I'm not saying that Austria was crime-ridden. I'm just saying that this shouldn't be looked at as like a situation that's acceptable. This shouldn't be looked at as a situation where you blame the victim. This shouldn't be looked at as a situation where you must be lying and have an agenda. Like, what the hell is going on? People don't have to live like this. We don't have to live like this. There are high-trust societies that exist in this world where people can literally leave a backpack on the sidewalk and walk away from it for hours and nothing will happen to it. I'm saying that's like utopian, obviously. It doesn't happen everywhere. But to be robbed while you're giving someone food and money, we shouldn't have to live like this. These types of people should be locked up, locked away, and shit libs should stop telling me that I'm making it up, that I have an agenda, or that I deserve to get robbed. It's disgusting. These people need to go 2-3 years Dagestan and forget. That's what they need to do. Or 2-3 years Beograd and forget. But so we obviously got through that, got all of our stuff, and then we left at the bus was only 16 minutes late, and somehow this amazing driver made us there on time. So we got to Bratislava about 4:45 in the morning, obviously exhausted, pretty aggravated, still running off of adrenaline. And then checked into this apartment that you see now. And I will say this, Bratislava is adorable. Like, it is a very cute, walkable. I've never even had any prior notions about Bratislava. Never really talked to anybody who visited it. I don't think you could carry pepper spray around the EU. I don't think that's legal. The Africans can carry machetes. That's fine. The Sikhs can carry their little knives. But I don't think you could carry mace around. Why do you want Chris streams from Russia like every couple days? What are you talking about? He's just not in Russia right now. Chris is guest hosting for George Galloway, and he's in Lebanon currently. I don't live in Russia. Chris lives in Russia. But oh, hi. I really do love it here. It's a very nice city, very walkable, and it's one of those places that's like a hidden gem. Really, really nice people. I think that someone commented on one of my posts, they're Slovak, and he said, there's this kind of nice innocence about the Slovaks. They're not very jaded. They're still very Slavic. They're not very disenchanted. They're very kind here. They're not sarcastic. They're not very. The Czechs are a little bit more less flowery, a little bit more pragmatic. People might call them cold. And so, but the Slovaks are not. They're much warmer, much sort of kind of like he said that there was like a fairy tale innocence about them. And maybe that's true. I don't know, but it's a very, very nice place. Very, very beautiful city. And so we came here and I had the wonderful, you guys might see my pictures from this morning. I interviewed a few Slovak politicians and activists in this morning, and they were fantastic. Like, I can't wait for these interviews or these monologue or whatever, these talks to come out and you guys can watch them, because the amount of insight that people from especially, well, all 4 countries, but today was just really enriching and really insightful about how people in Central and what I would say Eastern Europe are losing their sovereignty to Brussels, and that they see this as a continuation of World War II, the war, which was a war on Slavs. Whether you guys want to believe it, whether you guys want to acknowledge it or not, I know most Westoids won't, because to them it's just Brits and United States versus Germany, and then the Jews were the victims. But nobody really talks about the Slavs. And so a lot of Slavs, and even some Austrians, not so much the Hungarians, they have a bit of a different situation, but they recognize that what the EU and NATO is all just continuations of World War II and the Cold War. It's all just more of that. And it violates their sovereignty. It is, and as soon as you cross out of or into the EU, get ready to spend about at least 50% more than you were spending in a comparable city. So yes, Belgrade would be probably the most expensive place to live in Serbia. Yeah, I don't live in Belgrade, but once you take a step out into the EU, it's insane. Like the cost of living, the cost of eating, and we didn't only eat in like touristy spots. Like we didn't even stay in touristy spots. We sort of stay off the beaten path. The everything is just astronomically expensive. Like, why? Why is it like this? It shouldn't have to be this way. 21 packages of sanctions on Russia. And they're all coming from Brussels. And so this is a violation of people's sovereignty, that they can't even make their own economic decisions anymore. And so that's pretty much I can't afford red meat. Well, don't worry, it's all getting recalled anyway. They just recalled 30,000 pounds of it, I think, today, after they promised to like import a bunch of it and flood the market. I don't think I will be. I don't know. I really don't know. I see it's hard for me to keep. I'll do better once I get back to our home base in Novi Sad. But I haven't even been able to follow the United States news because it's so schizophrenic. I thought we were doing like Operation Economic Outcast. Now I'm hearing that they might lift sanctions. I don't even know what's going on. Like, it's all just psychotic. Then we had, and just so, we'll just come to a close on the Euro trip. So yes, we'll be leaving probably tomorrow to either go do another interview or at least maybe even, if I'm lucky, to go home, back to Serbia, which I can't wait. I loved the visits. I loved being able to see all of these places, but there's no regrets in deciding to live in Serbia. I would not live in any of these places unless they left the EU, period. And maybe even then it would be a tough sell. But I I'm so glad that I decided to stay in Serbia and not not venture out. It was either Serbia or Russia, and we picked Serbia. One for the weather, two for the food for me because I am like a Serbian food freak, and then three just because it's in a really good like it's just a really good like geographical location for flying. It's like so close to Istanbul, which we constantly fly in and out of. You get direct flights to Moscow if you need to go there, and you can still function on the Swift system, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why we decided to stay there, and I really, really love it. I love Serbia, and this trip, and I don't mean it to offend anybody. This trip has only made me love it more. I am so glad that I do not live in anywhere in the EU. Anywhere. It's too expensive. And even the people, when I would be talking to them, would be like, I have to watch what I say because I could get into a lot of trouble. And we weren't talking about, well, I guess we did prove that we are savage, right? I mean, we got all of our stuff back. People say, you better be careful about the crazies. I always say I'm crazier. So maybe they should be careful of me. But but so yeah, it's astronomically expensive, and the censorship is out of control. So see, but here's the thing, we can fix that. You're not going to be able to get people out of the EU. That's the thing. We have to look at things pragmatically and optimistically. That's fixable. That's always fixable. What's not fixable is entering the EU or NATO. You won't be able to get out. And once you do that, your sovereignty is gone. So Serbia, for all its faults currently, I know the Israel stuff is really bugging people, and I agree. But why is nobody talking about the fact that Kosovo is literally invading and occupying Gaza? We're worried about people buying Serbian weapons. These are also people who come from countries that all supply Israel with whatever the fuck they want. They're going to come down on Serbia about who they sell weapons to when their country literally arms Israel to the teeth, and Ukraine. And they're not going to talk about Kosovo invading and occupying Gaza. So I really don't fucking want to hear it anymore about Serbia being Jewish or Israelified. We can get to that later, and all of that can be fixed. What's going on with NATO and the EU cannot be fixed, will not be fixed. It will have to be collapsed. It will have to collapse, period. And even the people that I interviewed out here echoed the same sentiment. We won't be able to leave it. We can't leave it at this point. People that desperately want to leave, they know that they can't leave it. And people that I'm talking to are saying, I have to be careful of what I say because I can get into a lot of trouble here. Not from their countries usually. Czechia, maybe a little bit. Well, not anymore. They have a new administration in, but still, maybe not so much as their countries, as the EU itself will put pressure on the country. So they have to be careful what they say. And their major point of censorship is Russia, Ukraine. Not so much Israel, Palestine, like it is in the United States. But I know we have a bit of a censorship issue in the United States. Some people have gotten their homes visited, et cetera, confronted about it. But these people can't even talk about, they'll be completely, like some of the people I talked to have lost everything because of EU censorship. So people can't live like that. It's not sustainable. You're living in a crime-ridden, getting poorer. The EU is getting increasingly poorer, like economically. I'm not just talking about the people. I'm talking about the actual economies are collapsing. Finland is collapsing. Germany is not doing well, despite everything that they tell you. So this isn't really sustainable. So yes, they are so obsessed and terrified at the point. Let me just we'll talk about the Russia thing, and then I'll sign off. So The exactly. So, the Russia thing. Okay, so the CIA visited Russia. This is the first visit a CIA head to Russia since 2021. Was apparently unannounced, which I find weird. They flew in from Riga, which is also kind of offensive. It's the capital of Latvia, for those of you who don't know. So they fly in from Riga and into Moscow unannounced. Oh my God, Chris is here. If he is here. And oh my God, there's like people talking. We'll just put him down in the backstage. But so flies in from Riga unannounced. Peskov says, you know, we have no idea. Don't know why they're here. Meets with the head of I think it was is it SVR?
I'm back.
Oh my God. I'm about to sign off. Can I just leave the show with you? I was just talking about our Euro trip.
No, we'll just talk very quickly. How are you? How's the Euro trip going? But did you tell them the story?
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it, or I'll tell you again with all of the juicy details that won't get us banned.
There's more juice.
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of threats. Well, I think I covered most of it here. You know, most
you really are. I mean, you really have that Italian side to you. Like this was like really hardcore. It was like, you know, either you.
I don't think that was the Italian side that came out.
What was it?
I think it was the Slavic side.
Oh damn!
Even the Russians were like, "Oh my God."
Either you put your name on the check or your brains, like something like this, or it was even worse.
It was worse. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I love it.
We were just talking about the CIA visit to Moscow.
CIA, who knows what was going on? Who knows? They're up to no good.
I was going to speculate. We can also spitball in the chat. But my only speculation is that, and this is I'm not even confident in it, is that the United States is full steam ahead and on a suicide mission. And the CIA probably has intelligence that Russia is getting ready to accelerate even more, because they are. There's all kinds of rumors that they're ready to accelerate. And the CIA probably got intelligence and is probably saying, please don't. Because the CIA doesn't, you guys have to understand, the CIA works a lot of times independently of the government. Like a lot of times they work against them. A lot of times they try to prevent things. I jokingly said Ratcliffe came to find out how to interfere in US elections since the midterms are coming up and the Russians are the best at it, right? That's what they tell me. But I think that the CIA probably got intelligence that the Russians were going to accelerate in terms of Ukraine, which is with winter coming, Europe is not going to fare well. And the CIA might be like, dude, you got to chill, because my government's insane. And if you accelerate, like, plus now we have a little bit of an Iran acceleration. Iran has Oman has agreed to no longer allow anybody through the southern corridor and the Strait. So they're kind of both accelerating at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let me ask you, did you have how's the commentary been about the Moat show? It was a great job subbing in for George, by the way.
You did a great job for George.
I loved it. It was great, but it's quite an operation. George he's a workhorse. George is a powerhouse. It's not easy.
Chris, do you have a lady with you?
So I have a couple comrades here. Why you want to come? It's a party.
No,
here.
I don't. I'm not coming to Lebanon yet. It's too hot down there still. I need to be out of the heat for a while. After 3 weeks in Iran, I need every break from heat that I can get.
You know. We need you. We need you in the heat. We needed you at Arbaeen.
Oh my God, no.
Plus.
50 plus. No, not this year. After 3 weeks in Iran, all I could think about was 17-degree air conditioner. Novi Sad. Thank you.
I love it.
But yeah, when will you be back in Moscow?
Hopefully within a week or so, and then we're back on it. A lot of things are happening. World Youth Festival, elections. We've got the Dialogue of Fakes conference. We've got the Russo. They got so many things are happening in September. It's gonna be crazy.
I have I actually asked for a press accreditation for the non-aligned movement. It's the 65th anniversary of the non-aligned movement. We're hosting it in Belgrade. So I'm waiting to find out if we got press passes for that. We've also been invited to an event in Vienna on September 11th.
Excuse
me. It's a very Habsburgian event.
Excuse me, the Habsburgs.
Yes. A very Habsburgian event. And then maybe something after that. You have your little youth festival thing, or the youth, whatever it is. And it's in
small, 10,000 young people. Wallah, Habibti.
Habibti. All right. Anyway, I'm going out.
All right. Lots of love.
Gonna have more Pilsner before we leave Slovakia. Thank you so much, Central and what I would call Eastern Europe, but it's fine if you want to be Central Europe. We'll call you that.
Yeah,
but thank you so much. And I will literally be your bodyguard against gypsies any day.
Any day.
Any day.
Anywhere.
Any day. But love you guys. Oh, and we're gonna close it. Oh wait, do I have any Okay, here we go. Love all of the photos of the historic architecture you've been sharing. Makes me wonder what great landmarks have been. Oh my God.
A lot.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it. It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
My prediction: Russia takes all of Ukraine's Black Sea coast before Russia. Thank you, Fuzzy Balls. Before Russia will entertain any ceasefire talks, nor should they. Also, I feel that they're motivated to do it before the new U.S. president takes office in January 29. That's so cute. You think you're getting a new president?
Inshallah.
No damn new president. Once again, thank you for the gifted membership, Diosto, and thank you to new member M City Mum. What about St. Petersburg, Russia, not Florida? What are you asking? To live? I already told you why I didn't. I decided not to go to Russia. For now. Everything is for now. Everything can change.
Everything's for now. Who knows what's to come?
Especially with you. I said, everybody calls me Carmen Sandiego. Chris is everywhere and like nowhere at the same time. He's a ghost, but then he'll just pop up.
But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one constant. The Axis controls the war footing, and the Strait of Hormuz is Iranian and always will be. That's it. Finished.
Love you guys. Please watch this video that I did about the one-state solution, because the two-state solution is dead. Have a good night. And if you've stayed here with me, make sure you go watch Chris's episode. He guest hosts for George Galloway on Moats. And if you came over from Moats, go back and watch this episode. And guys, tune into the last episode with Stas Krapivnik. It was so good.
It was good.
Really funny because it was very late at night. We were all kind of delirious. So.
We love Stas. We love Stas.
We love Stas. And we will talk to you guys soon. Probably not tomorrow, but this weekend. Love you all. Stay safe.
Watch out
for gypsies. Bye. I'm Sarah from DD Geopolitics, and I'm here to discuss the political future of Palestine, given the current historical roadmap. Recently, Benjamin Netanyahu and other prominent Israeli voices have declared that the two-state solution is dead, or made it very clear that they will not allow the creation of a sovereign Palestinian state. So if the two-state is dead, what exactly comes next? Because the two-state solution was never the only proposal for Palestine. For almost 100 years, the world has proposed one political solution after another for Palestine: partition, federation, autonomy, two states, confederation, land swaps, international control of Jerusalem. And every time Palestinians are told that sovereignty is coming later. In 1937, the British proposed partition. In 1947, the United Nations debated two major options: partition into an Arab state and a Jewish state, or a federal Palestine with Arab and Jewish constituent regions. Partition won. But the Palestinian state envisioned in 1947 was never created. After 1967, the formula became land for peace. Israel would withdraw from occupied territory, and eventually there would be a Palestinian settlement. Then came autonomy. Then came Oslo. And Oslo is probably the clearest example of the entire problem. In 1993, Palestinians were given limited self-government through the Palestinian Authority.
but it was supposed to be temporary. The major issues, borders, Jerusalem, settlements, refugees, sovereignty, were supposed to be resolved later. That interim period was supposed to last about 5 years. It is now 2026. The interim government still exists. The Palestinian state does not. And while negotiations continued, Israeli settlements continued expanding across the West Bank, making territorial bases for two separate states increasingly difficult to create. Then came Camp David, Taba, the Arab Peace Initiative, the Roadmap, the Geneva Initiative, Annapolis, the Omer Abbas negotiations, the Kerry negotiations. Again and again, we were told that the two-state solution was almost there, but it never arrived. And eventually, even the meaning of Palestinian state began shrinking.
Under this vision, Jerusalem will remain Israel's undivided, very important, undivided capital. But that's no big deal, because I've already done that for you, right? We've already done that, but that's okay.
For too long, far too long, the very heart of the land of Israel, where our patriarchs prayed, our prophets preached, and our kings ruled, has been outrageously branded as illegally occupied territory. Well, today, Mr. President, you are puncturing this big lie.
By the time the Trump plan came in 2020, the proposed Palestinian territory was fragmented, heavily restricted, and surrounded by overriding Israeli security control. So at some point, we have to stop asking which version of partition might finally work. Because Palestinians and Israeli Jews are already living in the same land. Neither population seems to be going anywhere. The real question is no longer simply one state or two. It is what kind of political system should govern the people who live there. And my answer is one democratic state called Palestine. Not Palestinian domination over Jews. One state with one citizenship and equal rights for everyone. Palestinian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Druze, Armenian, everyone. One person, one vote, equal protection under the law. Freedom of religion, no ethnic supremacy, no second-class citizens. For generations, Palestinians have been told, accept this compromise, wait, negotiate, wait, again, sovereignty is coming. But after almost a century of failed partitions, temporary arrangements, and political promises, perhaps the mistake was believing that justice required finding the perfect border. Maybe the solution is much simpler. There are many different peoples living in the same land. None should rule over the other. One country, Palestine, with equal rights for all.